Hi and welcome to StockInvest.us podcast for week 29. It will be a short, but hopefully a good podcast. Last week I told you I thought Nasdaq would go down, and Nasdaq went down 1.5% about. Dow Jones did a little bit better, only down 0.16%. Does this mean that we now are heading for green markets? Well, that's the question I will try to answer in the section following. We will do the usual thing. We will look at the markets at the week ahead of us. There's a lot of earning reports coming up. Then I will do a quick analysis of Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Bitcoin and DogeCoin. And at the very end you'll get the trading tips. Last week I told you I thought it would be a hard gamble and that I might go in red. And actually I did. And I will tell you exactly which stocks went in green and which one went in loss. First, as always, and the one thing that you have to listen to the disclaimer, but I will be back shortly after with this week's predictions.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the StockInvest.us weekly stock and crypto podcast. The podcast is hosted by StockInvest.us co-founder and Golden Star Signal inventor, Jim Stromberg, who has been actively trading since 1996. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit like and notification bell so you will be first to know when we post a new video. This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and other audio sources. Ensure you listen to the entire podcast so you don't miss out on some key tips needed for this week's strategy.
Welcome to StockInvest.us podcast. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information provided, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.
A new week is here. The question is, will it be a green or will it be a red week? Let's start with last week. Last week I told you I thought it would be a red week. Not very bad, but still a red week. The answer is in, and the Nasdaq fell 1.57%, ending the week at $11,452. If you rewind back 1 week ago and even before that, I told you that as long as we are able to stay above 10,600, it is a good sign. Nasdaq not falling more than 1.57% last week is for me a good sign. But during this session we will have a look at the chart and see how the chart actually look like. Dow Jones, as I told you in the opening, did a little bit better, only down 0.16%. It was the week like you could expect. Inflation came in higher, a little bit higher, but not enough really to pull the market. It started red during the first part of the week and then became green at the end of the week. And that had an effect on the trading tips. As I tell you, every Monday I recommend some shares for you. My trading tips, I even invest into them myself. I do it usually on Mondays because I like to spend my week for other things than following the stocks. But as I told you last week, I thought it would be a hard gamble simply because it would be hard to find that exact bottom. And that happened, for instance, for Mara, but we will get back to that. This week will be a lot of quarter results coming up. Luckily there is no big major fundamental news. There is work number on Thursday, but as I said for several podcasts, I think you will just see a slight weakening in the job numbers, and they should come more and more gradually now. That will be Thursday, and of course there is big news like geopolitical news that you always have to keep an eye on, the Ukraine conflict, etc. But mainly for financial markets, it will be Q results this week. Because some major companies are coming with their Q results, and now investors will start to look how does inflation affect this. And at StockInvest.us, we have something called a earning calendar, where you can see how stocks usually do just before earnings, during the earning day itself, and after. I'll show an example of this because we will discuss Netflix, which will be after market tomorrow on Tuesday. Netflix will release their quarter results. What are the quarter results to look out for? Well, there will be a few big banks. I don't expect them to do very good, very bad. They usually do very good anyway, raking on profits. But it will be Bank of America today. Before markets open, you will have Goldman Sachs, Charles Schwab's, and a few others. Then moving to Tuesday, as I said, it will be Netflix after market closes. But before market closes, you will have the war machine Lockheed Martin will post their results, and I think it might be very good. And I think there is more to come as long as everyone is pushing for war and the increase of weapon arsenal around the world, flights, etc. Lockheed Martin should just do good. It's one of the stocks that you might want to invest into as a more long-term protection, because we're still in a bearish market. I don't think the fall is over, and Lockheed Martin might very well be one of these stocks which will give you a good yield and return, not falling that much when the markets go really red, and paying dividend. Halliburton will be also tomorrow before markets open, and these are more interesting because there will also be a few other oil stocks which will come in, and I think oil soon will have a rebound. We are in the middle of the summer, it's hot, nobody thinks about energy, but we are heading for an energy crisis in the winter. And I think very soon you will see oil stocks starts to pick up. And actually, as I will tell you in the trading tips, I think it's time to get back into a few of them. There will be more quarter results coming up, and there will be Tesla on Wednesday after market closes, United Airlines, etc. So you want to pay attention. There is a lot of them coming up this week. The other things that we usually follow is, of course, oil. Oil pretty steady, was down $4 last week to 99, but it's still floating around 100 despite huge effort. We know that Biden went to Saudi Arabia trying to convince them to produce more oil, but I'm not sure that will happen either. And we also know that Saudi Arabia and a few others is joining BRICS, and I told you many podcasts ago exactly what will happen. Due to the sanctions, due to the way the West handled the conflict in Ukraine, you will see a separation between the West and the East, where more will join, for instance, BRICS, different payment systems, which will have a huge effect in the future. Gold quite steadily down $24 last week to $1,712. I'm personally invested into gold, but I'm saved by the euro actually, because I bought back in euro, and it's keeping somewhat steady, but gold has been on a decline, and I'm just waiting for an upturn. Personally, I believe that gold will hit $2,500, but as I also told you, it will not happen anytime soon because interest rates are going up, and Fed is soon coming to announce a new huge interest hikes. This will have an effect on the market. Some expect it might go as much as 100 basis points, meaning 1%. Some think it will be 75. It will for sure be high as long as the inflation numbers are high, and this will take a toll on the markets, and of course it should also start to affect the housing markets. 10-year treasury yield is the one thing that we really follow, because if this one goes up, we know that markets go down. Last week it fell by 5.8% and is currently at 293. In my opinion, all of this is temporary. We will eventually head for more downturn, but there is, and I also told you this in last week and the week's podcast before that, there are signs that we might have a temporary bottom. We will soon go to the charts, try to make a conclusion. Are we heading for a green or a red week? The fundamental thing says that it will be a quiet week. As I told you, quiet is sometimes very good. But what does the chart say? Before we will show the chart, I will quickly show you, and if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, Anchor, Google, or wherever you are, this podcast is also available on YouTube, where I will show you the charts and a few other things. And one thing I like to show you right now is the earning calendar, which I told you about, because you can make money. And we know Netflix will release numbers on Tuesday, tomorrow. We also know that Netflix shows technical signs to might break up. And for those who have followed me for a long time, maybe remember last time I recommended Netflix was on earning day, but I did a slight mistake because, as I told you, Netflix usually fall on the earning day. You want to buy on the end of the earning day because the 3 following days after usually goes up. I did the mistake, of course, buying the day before the earnings results, yielding one of the few losses that I had in the trading portfolio. We will have a quick look at Netflix. I will show you now how the earnings report look like, so you can use it for yourself. It's one of the services that you can find at StockInvest.us, and I really recommend you to use some of them. Looking at the chart, you can type in Netflix or the ticker NFLX, and you will get up the chart for Netflix. And looking at Netflix, you will see some tabs. There is also a tab saying earnings report. Netflix earnings report will be released soon. You can head to the earnings report tab, and this is the one thing that I will show you. Here you have the classical behavior for Netflix before quarter results, and since a lot of you are listening and not watching this podcast, the usual behavior for Netflix before quarter results is moving somewhat sideways, could be slightly up, slightly down, but more or less sideways. The week leading up to the quarter results could even be longer. On the day of release, the stock has a fall. Has happened every time last 3 quarters. And if we go back to 2001 Q3, it fell 2.17% on the release day. If we go back to Q4 2021, it fell 21%. And on Q1 2022, it fell 35%. So this is for sure historically not the day you should buy on, and this is why looking at quarter results, action before quarter results, so you can decide, will you go out of the share if you have it before the quarter results just to buy back, or will you try to use common patterns? I think there is a fair chance that Netflix will return back up. I will not show the charts now because we're in the market section, and I don't want to use too long time on this. But if you follow the classical behavior, we will see a fall on the release day. Buying at the end of the day might turn out to be a good opportunity. But enough of that. We will have the final conclusion. We will look at the chart itself. Exig, Nasdaq composite, and decide, will it be a red or will it be a green week? And I will repeat many things I said before. Nasdaq is still in a falling trend. Nothing has changed, and you can expect further fall. It is getting to the top of the trend, and we will know for sure, will it now turn down? That's the most likely scenario, or will it break up? There has to be a few things in condition for breaking up, in my opinion, and none of them are present yet. What we do want to see is that we stay above 11,600, because if we manage to do that, if we manage to get a new significant bottom above this, that will create a much better scenario forward outlook, in my opinion. As is, Nasdaq is in a falling trend. You can expect it to fall further. There hasn't been any change. There is a buy signal from the short-term moving average, and there will be a buy signals from the long-term moving average, but I wouldn't pay too much attention to this. Volume is not following the market as good as it should, and that gives me idea that the common investor is the same like me, undecided where things will go. We are just watching the market. Relative strength index is falling, is 46, neither high neither low. Last time Nasdaq found the bottom, relative strength index was oversold at 29. That was back in June, when I told you it wasn't very obvious buy for Nasdaq. Now, for this week ahead, we know that Nasdaq, just above today's result, 11,700 points, will meet huge resistance. If it's able to break that, it can climb all the way up to 12,000, but it will meet resistance all parts on the way. The most likely scenario is the following. The market will try to move upwards, find the resistance, move a little sideways, try again a little bit sideways, and I think if we are lucky to get to 12,000, I think it will come with a downturn. The big thing, as I said, and I'll repeat it for the third time, you have to stay above 10,600. This is the main thing, because if we fall below 10,600, it will be straight down to 10,000, and I'm pretty sure that we will be back to 9,000. And you can go some 7-8 podcasts back, hearing me ask the question, will Nasdaq head for 8,000? Well, everything still indicates that we will head for 8,000. But things can change. That is why we keep an outlook every week. Because just get these bottoms above the previous bottom and we can have a totally different picture. All in all, this is what I believe. I think the market will move somewhat sideways this week. There will be no really huge changes. I'm not sure it even will be a volatile week. I think it will move somewhat slowly up and down. And I will not be surprised if it ends somewhere very close to where it is. Today I'm very tempted to say that we will have a green week by the end of the week, ending around 10,700. But during the week we might fall as low as 11, and we might go as high as 12 if things get very volatile. That, yes, I believe that will be the conclusion. I think I will stick to the idea that we actually might have a green week, slow, but green. And that by the end of the week you will see many stocks doing good. If you check a lot of charts, you will see that there is a lot of tech stocks, especially tech stocks, that are ready for a rebound. I'm not sure if Dow Jones will do as good as Nasdaq, but I think there is a fair chance, as I said, for a slight green week. We will head to the stock analysis, Apple, Microsoft and Tesla, Bitcoin and DogeCoin, and you will have the trading tips, and all of this should last some 10 minutes all in all. So just stay tuned and you will know what I am trying to do this week. We will quickly run through the analysis just to see how these stack up. And I actually had one user commenting, I don't remember if it was on YouTube or if it was on Discord or whatever, but he found it somewhat useful as a guiding. I'm very thankful for that, and I noticed that Apple did better than I thought, which is also very good for the Apple investor. And we will start with Apple as we always do. Apple is such a big company that it reflects very much of what we see. Usually it looks very much like Nasdaq index itself. And you can go to StockInvest.us, type in the ticker AAPL, Apple, and you will see the chart. And this is what you see. You see a stock that is in a falling trend, but is now testing the top of the trend. Will it be able to break it up? Maybe. It's a fair chance. It's very little resistance up to $157, so that might very well happen, maybe even early this week. Buy signal, short-term moving average, long-term moving average. Volume is not following the stock. That should be a little concern. It is at the top of the trend, but with very, very good support below. The risk should be low at the moment. My personal opinion is that everything in this chart indicates to me that the stock very soon will turn. I will not be surprised if it will go up to 157, then turn and start the downturn. With Apple, like for Nasdaq, the big question is to stay above previous low, and previous low for Apple was 130. A downturn now will just be natural. There is nothing scary about that. The more scary is if it breaks below 130, because then it will just be a continuously downturn for Apple. So having a reaction down now wouldn't scare me much. Lot of resistance below, support below, and it should, in all fairness, pick up at some of these levels. The big question is, will it be a slow downturn all the way down to 130, or will it turn earlier or above? There is very good support, for instance, around 140. Last week I had a target of 143. Apple did much better than that, so it ended at $150. For the week as such, I don't think there will be an upside for Apple by the end of the week. I think it might hit 157 during the week, then it falls down, ending just around today's price, maybe a little bit lower. I will keep a target for $147 for Apple this week, meaning $3 down from closing price, or $4 up from last week's prediction. So not a bad week, but I think that we might be close to a temporary top for Apple. What about Microsoft? Last week I told you I thought Microsoft would go to $160, but it did a little bit less than that. Just waiting for the chart to come up, and here the chart is, and sorry, $260. Apple Microsoft ended at $256.72, so I was some $3 off target. And looking at Microsoft, we see the same thing. It's a stock in a falling trend. Has sell signal, short-term moving average, long-term moving average. Relative strength index is moving down. It's actually starting to get low. It's not oversold. It's 39, so it can still fall more. Last time it found bottoms at the relative strength index was back around 17-18 of June, when it was 29. Started a long upturn after that, or before that in the middle of May, where it was 30, and the stock moved $10-15 up. Little support below. There is some support around 255. Makes a possible scenario for, if we turn into a red start of the week, could be there comes some news or some speculations or some major updates from some big bank or something, can cause a fall in the market. And if we see Microsoft break below 100 and let's say 52, it should fall very, very fast down to 245. And like for Apple, like for Nasdaq, the big question is, will it remain above previous top? Now it's reacting down from the top of the trend, as it should do. If we are heading for a more solid upturn for several weeks, some suggest that now we will have the summer period, the early fall, which should be very good. I'm not sure about that. But in general, if we are to see a trend change in Microsoft, what we want to see is the stock fall to the middle of the trend, somewhere where it is now, and then continue up, breaking the top of the trend. So if that happens, it will be a very good sign, even maybe I would say a good buy sign, because then we can have Microsoft back to $300 shortly. That's an upside of more than 10%. But for the week as such, this is what I think will happen. I think that we will see Microsoft try to push upwards, face the resistance at 260, 265. I think it will be too hard at 265, turn down. Actually, I believe Microsoft will fall during the week, ending the week lower than it is today. Somewhere around $250 is my guess. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Microsoft just continue upwards. But that is my gut feeling. I will see. And for those who are watching this at YouTube, you can also see the red cross in the chart. It's a major sell signal from the relation between the short and the long-term moving average. How much impact it have and if it will stay remains to see. It has to depend on the few next days of movement. But let's roll forward to Tesla and very quickly after that do Dogecoin, Bitcoin and Dogecoin and get to the trading tips. And if you look at Tesla, Tesla is much more volatile stocks than the other two. Moves sideways. For those who remember, said that I would try to do a Tesla trade last week. How did it go? You will know very shortly. There are signs in Tesla. I will not repeat too much of last week, but there are very good signs in Tesla. We just need to see a breakup. It's moving in something we call a rectangle formation between 630, 750, let's say. If it breaks above 750, it will do a $120 gain very fastly upwards to 870. And personally, that's the one thing I am looking to achieve. See if we can get this. The condition is that we need to break above 750 if we are able to do this in some sustainable way. There might be hope. What I do like is the volume falling very low, because usually when volume go up in Tesla, the stock also pick up. So if volume start to pick up, relative strength index is low, it's not oversold, it's 46, so it still can go a little bit down, but good support below. And if, as I said, you see an increase in volume, I think that we might see an upturn in the price as well. For the week as such, I think Tesla will end higher. I will not be surprised if we by the end of the week at least see Tesla up at 750. 750 will be the target. But remember, there will be Tesla earning reports during the week. That will affect the stock. No matter what I say, no matter what the chart say, that will affect the chart. Again, you can go to our webpage. And for those watching, since we are at the webpage, you can click at earning reports and you can see how Tesla usually do on earning day. And a little bit more mixed for Tesla compared to Netflix. Tesla moved up. Q3 2021, it moved up before the earnings report, during earning reporting day, and the 3 following days after. Q4 2021, the stock fell on the release day and then gained after. Q1, it got up on result day and fell all days after. So what will it be this time? That remains to see. It's for sure a volatile stock, Tesla, and you have to keep that in mind, that the result will affect the stock one way or the other. But let's run through Bitcoin and Dogecoin very quickly and get to the trading tips and back to the summer. Nothing changed for Bitcoin. It's at the top of a very falling trend. Every time it's been at this position, it falls $10,000. Will it happen again, or will it finally break up? So hard to say. There are nothing in this chart saying that we will go for a breakup, because the pattern is very clear. As I told you, it goes sideways like now, go to the edge of the upper trend, then fall 10,000 and starts to pick up, move sideways again, get to the edge of the trend, and then fall. You can see this very clearly. It's like a staircase if you look at them up. Right now we are at the same position, and there will be an answer to this question. I think it will be the same. Either Bitcoin will fall, or it will have a 10,000 upturn, and that's quite much, since we are right now we are at $22,000 about. I saw this price this morning, so going up all the way to 30 is quite nice rise if you are on that trend. Personally, I've taken my bets. I believe that crypto might return back, not to all-time high anytime soon, but that we might see the rebounds of crypto. Trying to find that exact bottom is very hard. That is why you just do it in steps. You invest in steps. Last time I got into Bitcoin was 30,000. That was a bust. I was from 30 to 60, sold at 60, then rebought at 30. That was a bust because it fell to 20. I added a little bit more at 20 to average down. It's called averaging down. And now we will see. Will it be? Also add a little XRP with good luck. Last week I got a few XRP. I see they are on the upturn. You shouldn't play too much around with crypto. It's very, very volatile, and it's for sure one place to lose money very easily. Just spare cash, high risk. That's the name of the game. And to represent the shit coins, the rest of the coins, let's have a quick look at DogeCoin. DogeCoin's not exactly the same like Bitcoin, but very close. Moves in steps. And DogeCoin just been trying and trying, but without Elon Musk rambling on Twitter, there is really no big movements in DogeCoin. I have a few bets in DogeCoin. We'll see how that pans out. So far I am in a loss, and I expect to stay in a loss during the week because there is nothing in the chart saying that we will have an extremely upturn anytime soon, and it is what it is. It's 6 cents, so let's be realistic. Target for Bitcoin, I forgot to say that, but the target for Bitcoin will be 25,000 by the end of the week, and for Dogecoin I hope to see it up around 8. But we will have some real answers now. Are we heading for more downturn, or are we finally finding a bottom in crypto? That leaves us to the very last part, the trading tips. Coming up, last week, as I told you, it would be a challenging week. Now you will get the exact answer how it actually went. Last week became a bust, and this is what happened. Last week I told you that I would want to go into Mara and Tesla. They were the two trading tips. In addition to this, I had too many stocks open simply because they were running on stop loss. Zomedica without stop loss, of course, but Chevron and Energizer was still open, and Innovo, as I told you, I thought it would be a red week, and as I said, I think that some of these will be stopped closed by stop loss. And just quickly, if you're a new listener, this is how it works. Every Monday I give trading tips you can follow. We've been doing this since early last year, I think it was, and it starts to become money. Usually I manage to do green every week. I had a few red weeks, and I always reduce the losses using stop loss. It's the one thing that I try to teach you during these podcasts. Use stop loss. Sometimes you will lose money. I told you this. Sometimes you will see your stock be cut by stop loss, then to just go up. So a trade turns out to be negative when you could have sold it. This happened to Mara. We will get back to that very shortly. Marathon, which was bought last week. The other thing is that I give you these trading tips on Mondays, and I don't want to spend my days trading. I'm too busy for that. It's not a priority for me. I invest more long term, but still I give you this trading portfolio where I actually invest myself. I told you last week that I thought it would be a red week, and for sure I said that I don't think Monday will be the right day to buy, because it could be earlier the week. Later in the week to find a very good bottom for Mara and Tesla. So what I do is I buy stocks. I put a trailing stop loss on them. The stop loss depends how volatile stock is. I consider Mara to be very volatile, so I had a 7% stop loss. Anyway, this is exactly what went down. Monday, everything opened red, just as I was hoping. As I told you, I tried to find a good bottom for the stocks. Very often common pattern is that half an hour, 40 minutes after exchange open, you will have a temporary bottom. Mara fell very hard, fell down to 760ish, and I was looking at the stock and it seemed to find some solid bottom around 760, moving a little bit up and down, and I decided that I could not spend all day. I was already spending way too much time trying to find that bottom. I ended up buying Mara at 782. That seemed to be a good choice because Mara went a little up, above 8 if I not remember wrongly, then started to fall, ending the day lower. And on Tuesday the pessimism still was in the market. We had a very red opening and my Mara was cut by stop loss at 728. I think it went down to 722, a few cents under what my stop loss was. And just as expected, it went upwards. Currently trading around 8. That position could have been very good, but it was cut by stop loss. Actually, I lost 6.91% in Mara. And I have a Norwegian user asking me tons of questions about Mara. And if you're looking at this podcast, Jens, the answer to your very last question, yes, I think Mara will continue upwards. Nothing has changed in that direction. But this is how stop loss works. It cuts, nobody knows. Could have been even worse, could have fallen all the way. Sometimes stop loss will do the wrong thing, but statistically and in average it will help you. So what about the other trading tips? Well, Zomedica still stays open. It had just a slightly fall during the week. It's still 13% profit in Zomedica. I think, as I told you many times, I think Zomedica will go up. It's just finding that right week, that right mix. It might be this week, who knows? And I'm pretty sure that for sure will go above 30 cents. I've been trading Zomedica many times, and I still yet haven't lost anything doing Zomedica trades, and I think I will do good on this one. At 30 cents I will consider to sell, because then I will have more than 20% gain in the stock. It will even be more than 30 actually. Bought at 22 cents. Does this mean that you should buy Zomedica? Well, that's up to you. It's what you consider high risk stock. It's penny stock. The only thing that is good, they have a lot of money in the bank. And I think that they will improve fundamentally their operations, so it should help. But it's something that you should just keep on the sideline as a high risk stock if that's where you play your game. Energizer was also doing quite okay. It was in our portfolio. It was bought, let me see exactly when it was bought. It was bought back in week 26. Did very good, was up more than 10%. Everything was looking very good. Then last week opened very red. The trailing stop loss which I use is very simple. It only follows the stock up, never down. And Energizer was somewhere around $20 or $30 at the very top. So last week came and opened very red, and Energizer were cut by stop loss at 27.93, leaving a profit of 6.6% for the trade. So also Energizer is closed. Innovo, the same thing. Innovo was a good trade. I was doing very good. As I told you, no matter what happened, I will make money in Innovo. Innovo was closed. It was bought at 188 and it was closed at 206.5 by stop loss, giving me 9.84%. When I say it was a red week last week, it's just because the week before Innovo ended at 217, so it was higher, but cut by stop loss. And both Energizer and Innovo went very well in plus. And then it's the last two stocks. Chevron. Well, Chevron didn't manage either, fell below the stop loss, was cut at 138.05, giving a loss of 1.74% for that buy. The last stock bought last week was Tesla. I was actually able to find somewhat okay bottom for Tesla at 705. it was a little lower than that, then moved up and down during week, but were never able to be sold by stop loss. In the portfolio is still in at 720, ending the week at 720. It's up 2.13% so far, and I think it will just continue upwards. What are the trading tips for this week? Well, since I'm not sure exactly how the week will go, I will not go very hard. Zomedica is open, Tesla is open, and usually I only have 2 or 3 stocks running with 2 new tips. There will be 4, and I will not go about that. I think oil will have a rebounds. Not sure it will be this week, but I think it will have a rebounds, get back to the $100 territory. Oil stocks been pushed down. I think they will have the rebounds now. Anytime soon there will be a good opportunity in rebounds. I will simply get back into Chevron because I think Chevron will do good, and I think Chevron will hold if markets go down. This will be the 3rd trade in Chevron. The 2 last been sold with loss. Back in week 26, tried Chevron 153, fell to 146, gave a loss of 4%. And the week 28 Chevron, as I told you, bought Chevron week 26, lasted 2 weeks the trade, then cut by stop loss at 174. Will 3rd time be the lock, or is this just stupidity? It remains to see. My argument is that I think oil price is very low. I think oil stocks have taken a natural correction. I think that they will turn up. It's just a matter of exactly finding when. I don't want to, I don't want to spend too much time trading this week. I will go into 2 oil stocks. It will be bore drilling, which we have done several times before, all of them with success, and it will be Chevron. So these are the 2 stocks that got in. Remember, bore drilling week 26 giving 10% profit, week 27 giving 7% profit. Just to remind you a few times of bore drilling. I will try this morning to find a good entrance point in these 2 stocks. I will put a trading stop loss on them, and we will see how it will yield. The 4 open trades for this week is Zomedica, Tesla, bore drilling, and Chevron. And bore drilling and Chevron is the new tips for the week. It might end red again. Remains to see. I have a feeling that it should be somewhat green, but not the best green week. Finally, at the end of the podcast, I was really not motivated for the podcast today, but we managed more than 130 podcasts in a row every single Monday, starting to take a toll. It's summer. I hope you enjoy the summer, that you will use it. Hopefully you have some good weather, not too hot weather like in Spain, but that you are able to get some D vitamins and energize, because it will be a very exciting fall. I am dead certain about it. There will be a lot of volatility in the markets, and that is where money can be made, even lost, but especially the place where you can do quick trades. And most of you, of course, want to try to grab some of the green when it's there. Until next week, have a very good week, and we will see what happens. Will it be green portfolio? Will it be red portfolio? Will the market be green or red in total? I have a slight feeling, as I said, it will be a green week, not by much, but by some. And we will see next Monday. Bye.